So with this is a new theme I've introduced. It's somewhat like in a past class. Oh, and mute yourselves if you can, because I'm hearing my voice coming again through somebody's computer. I wish that we could all be unmuted, you know, so that it felt like we were all in one room or something. I mean, I really hate the silence because I feel like I'm just, you know, like barking into a you know, an empty room, which is kind of what I'm doing. But I did like a natural textures class, like the first time I did this. But I thought I'd just focus on trees because I probably trees are the second most drawn thing after people that people do, you know, trees and cats and dogs. The thing with trees is how do you get across all those leaves, you know, like the sense of a whole bunch of stuff and try to make sense of it. And, you know, you do not want to draw every freaking leaf, right? You really don't want to do that. I mean, if you look at some etchings and stuff, they do that, but these examples that I've gotten out are, I would say that Van Gogh is definitely the most obsessive with his drawings, with mark making, but it's not as though he's trying to actually draw leaves, you know. I mean, he's finding different ways of mark making to get different textures and different, in a sense, of different colors. I would say that, like with pen and pencil, it's the most difficult because they're the most linear, and trees are so fluffy. You know, it's if you use a wet medium, it's a bit easier to get across that texture quickly. But I want us to be able to kind of wrap our heads around what it means to deal with something that, like a great mass that's composed of a whole bunch of little stuff. And I would say this drawing by Courbet is one of the best. I have not found a better example of how to deal with this than this drawing. And I use it over and over again. And I keep looking for another example that might do the same thing. I haven't found it yet. But what he's done, I'm going to hold this closer, but oh, wait a minute. I better not, because it's set. I better not mess with the focus, because I'll just mess everything up. But hopefully you can see it fairly clearly.
Did the focus get bumped?
No, I didn't bump it, but can you shine that light right on here? Because I think it will help. I think it'll be able to see. I mean, it could be that just that I'm blind.
No,
but
these are hard things to see.
But yeah, if you can like aim it right at the. Yeah, wait a minute. There, that's good. That's nice and bright. Okay, thanks. Okay, so what he's done, as you can see, he hasn't really drawn a single individual leaf. There's no leaf on this tree. But what he has done is, and this too is a great example of seeing the larger shape amidst the small shapes. A lot of people, look at a person's hair in the same way. You know, a lot of people, you know, they draw hair, you know, like this, you know, like spaghetti. Whereas if, you know, you look at the bigger pictures, the lights and darks, oftentimes it's like that, you know, that the lights and darks break up within the hair. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get you to focus on, this kind of approach. With this, there's a there's a temptation to just scribble it, you know. And with the Rembrandts, I think you're going to be much more allowed to do that. He's quite a bit more loose and scribbly. But with the Courbet, what I found in trying to copy this is that it's very careful, and he never really crosses over lines, which I didn't realize until after I really started to try to copy this, that he keeps, you know, the line's very tidy. He doesn't do, in other words, he doesn't do this, okay? And very challenging to copy this. It looks pretty simple, but the other concept I want you to really get a handle on is seeing the bigger shapes within, you know, within all these other little shapes. He has divided it into light, medium, and dark. And if you copy this, hopefully you'll be able to sort of translate that when you look at a tree, a real tree. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of channel that, you know, so like it's simplified in a way, but it's also very, very careful. I think when you copy this, it would be a good idea to put down the format, because it does help to see the main tree. But I'm just gonna like try to demonstrate that's not my issue right now. So what I want to do, and I'm not going to copy this whole thing. So I just want to try to help you get started on it, because we've got a bunch of other things to copy. But let me just, I think this camera is better for catching, you know, like for catching lighter strokes. And that's probably wrong, but you see, I'm trying to get the whole thing on first. And sorry, this is backwards as well. But let's, now that I've got kind of the whole thing on, I'm gonna come in and try to find those bigger shapes. And I'm just marking them, okay? I'm not gonna quite get into tone just right at the beginning. And this is why we want to do with pencil, because we can easily correct it. Okay, so now I've gone in and I've kind of refined the shape a bit. I can, you know, cut it down a little bit. And now I'm going to start looking at, like, you'll see that he has very judiciously suggested certain individual leaves, you know, or just the shape. It's a suggestion of leaves, you know. It's not like he's doing this, you know, over the whole tree, right? What he's doing is really more or less doing what the eye is actually seeing. The brain sees a whole bunch of leaves that are leaf-shaped and leaf-like, you know. But when our eyes look at trees, we're not picking out all those little leaves, you know. We're just seeing the major color changes as he has demonstrated. So at this point, I might start putting in some tone. And you'll see he does this too. It's just with the tone. I don't want to see you doing like careful chiaroscuro. Does everybody know what chiaroscuro is? It's you art history people should explain it better than me, but it's what Leonardo especially is known for. It's just like this very smooth gradient of tone. I don't want you to do that, okay? I want every mark you put down to be deliberate, okay? And as always, I'm going to try to move through the whole thing at once, okay? I'm going to, I can look at the light tone. I really should look at the big tones, as I've said to you many times, and move through it fairly quickly. And he's done his quite let's try to get some of this right. Again, I want to try to do as he does and not let it look scribbly. I want it to look like these smooth lines that don't overlap each other. Just here and there, he does a little suggestion of the leaf shape, but just a suggestion. And I need to keep moving. And squint, that helps you kind of separate out all those tones from each other. And here's some nice little leaves too, and there's that. I don't want to get too caught up in the detail. I'm not going to get too dark. I'm not going to get into the darks yet. I just want to, get the biggest darks in first. Now, I'll probably have to redraw some of this. This is very light. Even I can hardly see this over here. But I'm going to just kind of follow it. Oh, it just kind of disappears out here. And with all these, I'm just drawing the tree, but I have also used this as, way of drawing the whole thing, the whole composition. And like, say, some of these little lines that are, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but like some of these little lines outside that like indicate the road and stuff, that can help you if you're having trouble seeing, the shape of the tree or how it's working. Use some of that. Like say this, I can see now needs to move over a bit because that, because like that needs to be there. So I haven't got like all the fluff, but I'm coming back and, where I've kind of generalized and gone through and put straight lines, I've kind of erased and brought in his very suggestive, fluffy lines. There's a suggestion of a branch there. And he has kind of cross-hatched to get some darker darks. This is not right. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Gotten a little lost here. Oh, goodness. It's terrible. Let's get down there. As I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want you to, like, as you're working on it, I'm kind of toggling. I have not found the greatest approach to copying this work, because, as I've said, it's very difficult. I don't know what I was thinking of up here, but as you're doing it, again, I don't want you to obsess over it, but I do want you to get used to always correcting, as I've been laying into you. And I'm just going back over. Again, I don't want to let this get sloppy. he's been able to get this very nice suggestion of, you know, light, leafy atmosphere, but kept it pretty tidy. And even within these darks, he's got, you know, darker darks. Down here, I don't want to spend too much time correcting this because I want to go on to these other drawings, but, you know, often, usually, trees are, you know, they have these dark patches, but, you know, they're mostly dark, you know, towards the bottom because obviously the sun is hitting it from above. So you're gonna, and some of these are cross-hatched, like, and what I mean by cross-hatched is, all right, this is a hatch, and this is a cross-hatch. Okay, and we're gonna get into hatching, I think next week with cross-contour hatching. I'll tell you one technical thing, that when you're hatching, don't ever do this. Don't do it at right angles. Always make it at some kind of acute angle. Okay, back to the tree. And he's kind of, you know, like suggesting leafiness within these dark areas. And my hatching is very sloppy. But here he's done some cross hatching. Pay attention to what direction he's going in. So that really needs to have more. You know, I could spend 3 hours on this drawing, okay? But I'm not. But I do want to try to get the darkest darks and the spirit of it. That nice thin. So anyway, I'd really like to see you spend a lot of time on this drawing. It's going to be hard. I think, you know, one thing I might do is, I do want to do some wet stuff. And maybe I'll do that right now just to, if you get, like, I would suggest you do this twice. Once with the pencil, which will be very difficult. And then just try it out with some tone. Get open near you. All right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I just suddenly decided to do this. I'll try to get this all on if you can see it all. Yeah, this doesn't need to be here. Let's move this, let's situate this better. Okay. So I'm gonna saturate my brush with my water and saturate it over here with just, you know, any old tone. It's good, I always say use a cool tone, because basically the tone is the shadow and shadows are cool. But you could go through here and just And, you know, you can't correct it really. I mean, it's going to be hard to correct it, maybe a little bit, but I haven't done, this is the first time I've tried this, just strictly tone. And then you could use the same tone. Now, I should wait for this to dry, but for the, just for time's sake, I'm not going to. If you go in too soon when it's still wet, you'll just lift color off instead of add to it. I kind of like just, this is where it's nice to use. This is where like using wet media is easier than dry media. It's just, you can do so much. I mean, depending obviously on what you want to do. But you can see that in this respect, the wet media is a lot of fun. You know, it's much easier to do than the pencil. But I would like you to do the pencil just because that's gonna, you do this stuff, you start to internalize it. You know, you start to really learn by physically doing it. Okay, again, this is, as I always say, this is like an athletic skill. You have to do it. You have to physically do it to learn it. So, you know, if you're having trouble, don't sweat it, because it's just, you know, you just have to practice. It's not you. But as you can see, that's kind of, you know, nice. Oh, it's a little squashed, I guess. I'm going to cheat and make this a slightly nicer shape. And then I can go in and like suggest some of these. Here's where the nice, you know, like tip of the thing. You know, can get some nice little details. So that was, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I tried this. This is, get some more tone on here. Oh, I got some kind of red in there. This is the problem with using watercolor. I'm kind of a slob about it, and I've got some other foreign color in there that I don't really want. Okay, I'll mix some of this up, and we might be doing some wet later as well. Okay, so try that. Try both ways. And this is one of those times when the wet will be easier than the dry. Okay. I would say this is very sophisticated. Okay. It's very challenging. It looks so simple. It's extremely sophisticated. I think Courbet sat there and he really got everything right. I mean, it doesn't look like he scribbled and scratched and searched it out. You know, he's not being like Giacometti or even Cézanne, who would search and search and search with his lines. He just, now we don't know what the tree really looked like, you know, but he just put down those pleasing lines right away. With Vincent, it's a whole different approach.
Don, I have a quick question about the Courbet.
Yeah.
So would he have done that with pencil? or charcoal?
The Vincent?
No, the Courbet, the first one.
Oh, a pencil. He definitely did it with just pencil.
So would he have used like two different hardnesses of pencils, like a 2B and then something else to get those darker lines?
Well, I don't know. He wouldn't have to. Susan Beilstein, you might be able to tell better than I can. I mean, to me, it just looks like one pencil.
I think it's one pencil. I think it's all about pressure.
Right.
Pressure and mark.
Okay.
And they didn't have, I mean, they might have had a 2B, but they didn't have the kind of range of pencils that we have now. So.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I always need the other students to help me teach the class. Thanks, Susan. Yeah, I didn't think that either, but I don't know as much as you do. So yeah, I mean, just one pencil. I would like you to try it at least with one pencil because yeah, as Susan points out, it's a lot about pressure. And I think, Joshua, I mean, when you were doing that Portinari, I mean, were you using the side of the pencil like that? I mean, it looked like that's what you were doing.
So I was actually using kind of a 5B that was really just, here I'm showing it. It's kind of like all the graphite, like it wasn't sharpened at all really. Just
Okay.
kind of blunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
5.
in any case, yeah, you can do either one, I guess. But yeah, try it with just the one pencil and see if just by, variation in pressure, you can get these various tones. I made that a bit harsh there. And here's like here, there does look like there's some very thick lines right there. Like maybe he did come in like that, with some of these, with the side of his pencil. I do not know, but this is the thing. I mean, the only thing you can do is try it, physically try it, and see if you can get the same effect that this artist got. It's the best way to figure out how they did it, is to just imitate them the best way you can. And once you go into it, then you can kind of understand the medium that they're using better anyway, but you have to like kind of dive into it first. I mean, you can't just like look at this. I mean, I can't. Maybe somebody else can, but I can't just look at a drawing and like understand everything about it just by looking at it. I have to dive in and explore it physically. Okay, let's move on to Vincent. Vincent is a thing unto himself. Damn, it's 7:30. I wanted to get to these Rembrandts. I think the Rembrandts are the least problematic. They're, let me do the Rembrandts just real quick, like this Rembrandt here. In fact, I'll do it over here on this. With this, he has used like tone, but he suggested, he's let the,
I'm gonna do it out of my meeting if you lose bandwidth.
okay, all right, thanks a lot. He has, with a much looser style, I really don't know. I mean, I have not, this is the first time I've tried to copy this Rembrandt. And I don't know how he did it. I really don't. So all I can do is just try to mimic it and see what I can get. And if it's a disaster, then I'll try it again. But I'm going to try to get the whole thing on there again, like I should have in the first place. I think this might be, I can't tell if this is pen or pencil. but he definitely used some tone. And you might want to, well, that's too dark. And, you know, you can hold it. This is the way you're supposed to hold it when you're doing Chinese, like calligraphy, which I never could do. I quit when I realized I could never, ever get the calligraphy right. But I did learn a lot from studying the Chinese way. But you could come in and just like get the whole thing on, you know, just real lightly. And then you could come in on top of it. I'll let that dry for a little bit. And then you could come in on top of it and augment it with the pen or the pencil. But that's just a real quickie in case we don't, the Vincent is going to take a while. And I think I might have mentioned, I always kind of poo-pooed how his mental illness affected his art. I used to think, well, he was mentally ill, but he was an artist in spite of a mental illness. But when you look at his drawings and really start to practice what he's doing here, there is a power of concentration that this kind of thing requires, and a kind of obsessiveness that I think somebody with a very different kind of mind was able to do. I think Van Gogh is a complete mystery and a complete genius and a miracle. But some of the stuff, anyway, this might be a nice one. I'd encourage you to do the whole thing too, because this is a nice composition. But I'm just going to focus on the tree because I also want to get to this crazy one too. This is like a really amazing one. And this one, I think he did. He used like, he often used a reed pen, which I've tried. It's very awkward. I should find it. I've lost it. I should buy another one. But I'm going to, try to get the whole thing on first. And these trees kind of merge together. But yeah, I'm afraid I can't. I still haven't finished that long biography. I got almost to the end, and then I skipped to the very end, like it was a murder mystery or something, and then of his life, and then I stopped. So
did you go to the end to see how they think he actually died?
I know, isn't that fascinating? Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know. It's reasonably well documented.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's people saying, I did this, I did that as a child. But yeah, if anybody cares, there's a...
Yeah, tell everybody, Susan. Tell them the story. It's amazing.
Well, he's supposed to have shot himself out when he was out painting. And some people say suicide, others suggest that it was an accident. And the thing is that he was shot with the gun of a neighbor in the village. And the notion is that it probably was an accident and that he was shot by a group of boys who used to torment him or make fun of him while he was out and about, because apparently he really was quite a strange, and yeah, he was a real character. So there's a strong theory that it was one of these boys who accidentally shot him. And what's interesting to me is that so many of the the Van Gogh scholars are like, no, 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 he shot himself.
Oh, I know, they're so invested in him shooting himself.
So invested in the legend, and sort of like, anyway, that's the story.
Thanks, Susan. Yeah, I thought that made a lot of sense to me. Just, the physical evidence. Anyway, let's get back to talking about how Vincent does this. And you see, he uses all different kinds of mark making to get the textures of nature. And you see, like, he changes direction. If he's using lines, he'll change direction, or he'll change pressure.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm going to try to, I have no idea in what order he might have done this, but I think he would put down the mark and lift up. He wasn't one for doing this kind of thing. He would have discrete marks, very, very decisive mark making, but quite controlled, and I'm not getting the and yeah, when I look at doing this, I don't see that he's really scribbling on. He doesn't. This is fascinating. I think this is something I hadn't really thought about. Where's my eraser? He doesn't really draw on top of his marks. Once he puts that down, it looks like it's there. Like, see, so here, I'm looking at this, and I saw that I was putting it on too light, so I just put it, my marks on top of the marks I already had. But it's like, no, I think he, very deliberately put exactly the kind of mark he wanted. It kind of reminds me of Katie Kolwitz in that, she just used the pure charcoal, put down the mark she wanted. She didn't mess with it. She didn't adulterate it in any way. I'm going to move through here. I'm going to try to move through here a bit. But here too, it's like he has done a little hatching, but he's, changed that direction. It's fascinating, doing copies of Vincent's stuff is always very enlightening. It's like, his powers of concentration are just, amazing. And then he does, I think, what's really expressive about these things, and what I should do is mark out the bigger areas, because again, he is doing dark, medium, and some light at the very top. But it's when you see leaves, you see the sides of them, and then maybe the wind blows and you see the tops of the leaves, I feel like that's what's happening here. He's marked off certain areas of light and dark, and pay attention to the direction he chooses to go in, and how Susan, this must be a reed pen, because it's just the marks are so nice and dark, and And he used different kinds of things, ink and charcoal and pencil.
He sometimes often put down, I mean, you can maybe see, I don't know. Sometimes he used to sketch in pencil and then go over it and elaborate in ink. But he
Yeah.
just, I mean, this looks mostly like ink to me.
Yeah, I think so.
But you know, there's some parts in that could be pencil too.
Yeah, he just kind of he didn't worry too much about. Well, you know, he struggled very much to try to get things right. I mean, it's not like he just decided he was going to do his own thing. I mean, he very sincerely struggled at.
Yeah, he used oh God, what are those called? He used a grid,
Right.
a transparent grid to get his perspectives right. Though I don't know that he did it for this.
But yeah, no, he was like, he would use any tools he could, any tools that came to hand. He didn't, you know, worry about, like that it wasn't, you know, it was cheating or something. He would just, he felt he had a problem with understanding perspective, so he would just get the tools that he could. Okay, so here, like if you want to try it, I have these brush pens. They're kind of fun because you can get like quite a bit of different thicknesses out of it. So if you want to, if you can get some of these, they're nice. And I would say like try first with the pencil, but then I can't get the fineness that he gets. Like I've tried copying a Vincent with these marker pens, and I just don't have the patience. But I think with a pen, it's a little easier to get these dots in. But he's got, see, the thing that a pen is not going to get you this variety of tone. You know, he's definitely got some lighter marks there that could only be gotten by a different. Well, I mean, no, he could with a reed pen. He could have saturated it differently, I think, and gotten, you know, a variety of tones like that. But if you, I mean, it's very careful. And I should really spend the time to this is not accurate at all.
Don, when there's some of these like larger strokes or areas, I mean, are you kind of counting? I don't know if that's the right word, but like, how are you knowing that you're getting the right like density of strokes?
I don't.
You don't worry about it.
All I can do is try it and see what works. I have a private student who always wants me to tell him, what colors do I use? How do I do this? And my answer is always, well, give me your pencils and I'll see, you know. Somebody with greater wisdom and talent might be able to know these things, but for me, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about these lighter tones. I'm curious about how he got them. But the only way I'm going to know is to just try to imitate. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I forget. What was your question? It was like, how do I know, like, the
Oh,
kind
like
of
the number, like, I don't know. This just seems very precise. You're not like saying, oh, well, there's like there's probably 10 strokes here or something like that. You're not worrying about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could, I mean, okay, Vincent's strokes are so deliberate that you probably could count them, like over here. And what I'm trying to replicate is just his deliberation. There is no way I'm going to get every single stroke, okay? We're going for the spirit of the thing, all right? We're not, this master copying, it's about, it's not about reproducing it, or, like try, getting this exact kind of photocopy reproduction of it. What you're trying to get out of it is an understanding of what he tried. And then when you look at a tree, you might think, well, maybe I'll try this, but the only way to understand it is really to do it. I didn't notice, like, say, to what extent he's so careful about changing direction. And I think you'll find that, and this is, again, how I started to, like, decide that, like, yes, Vincent's mental illness did enter into his art making, because this stuff, if he wasn't crazy to begin with, doing it this way will drive you crazy. And it makes for beautiful drawings. But you're not going to get, an exact replication of every mark you put down or every stroke. I don't want you to try, or you'll just end up going nuts. But, like, I'd like to see you, like, just try to discover all the different kinds of strokes he did do, like all the different kinds of marks he put in, like that little thing right there, and that business is so nice, and how he creates these overall shapes within that are very expressive of the texture of the tree. So I hope that kind of clears it up for you. And I'm like, this is totally inaccurate, what I'm doing. But I am getting a kind of a tree that is kind of expressive of the textures in the same way that Vincent did, I think. And I can perhaps understand his method well enough to apply it, to use it as my own in some way. Yeah, this is kind of fun, using this. Now I can't stop. I'm just, I can't let it go, but I have to, because we're getting in the last 15 minutes. And I would, in past classes, I've had people copy an entire, Vincent landscape. So if you get a chance, do put the whole format down and try to do the whole thing. And as you can see, this is like, he's really spent a long time on this tree, but he's done some very economical, very simple suggestions of the rest of the landscape here. So that's totally worth looking at too. Like, so he's got all of Holland back here, and I don't know how he did that. That's got to be like a finer. Yeah, I can't leave this alone. I see this is, all right, great drawings. The more time you spend with them, the more you get sucked in. It's just like, oh, look what he does here, And okay, good rule of thumb with landscape, as things get closer, they get bigger. So you have little tiny grasses here and bigger grasses in the front. House has got to be redone, but anyway, that's definitely worth trying. Here you've got this whole little landscape now. It's very, I think it's very pretty. Very, very different from this. You know, this is like, you know, really bold and direct and crude. I mean, Vincent's stuff has got this incredible crudeness to it that's, you know, very powerful. This is elegant and sophisticated. Two very different ways of looking at nature. Let's see what's going on with the Rembrandt here. I gotta take a little break from Vincent because he's just so intense. It's hard to stick with it. You have to take a break from him when you're studying him, I think. I've got this other pen, so I put down some tone just to kind of react, you know, something to react to. No idea if that's how Rembrandt did it. You know, I have found that like it's very, you can get really good drawings by putting the tone down first and then letting that. It's also good to have a pen with ink in it. I wonder if I can find one. No, not you. I need to get rid of these ones that are just sort of have ink in them. This is a bit better. Okay, you're going in the garbage. So I put the tone down, but I don't necessarily have to stick with it, you know? But I'm going to try to get, you know, the major stuff. There's that nice little thing coming out. All of this shows, you know, here you've got like tree branches coming in front of, I mean, leaves coming in front of the tree branches. And a little bit here too, he has this branch coming and then it continues up here, you know, and then he has these just very easygoing marks. I always find Rembrandt to be such a fun, I mean, he must have been a fun guy, you know, and a very philosophical guy, because all his works have this kind of, even his very serious works have this kind of easygoingness to them. I don't know. I've got to think about this because it's, I mean, just these really witty observations of things, and I don't know. I'm kind of babbling now. I'm really crazy about Rembrandt. And I could, so I haven't got this thing exact, right? But now I'm just going to kind of go with it and kind of do my own tree in the style of Rembrandt. Here. And then I can kind of take off. I'm gonna move outside the tone I did, so that tone can be kind of contained in my drawing. And then maybe, it looks like he used, you know, he came back in and maybe developed it a little bit. Did that all wrong, but the heart of the tree is dark. So yeah, I'd say the Rembrandt is like the most easygoing of these guys. I might tackle this just because it's fascinating. Oh yeah, and we didn't get to this one either. This is a beautiful, this would be worth doing the whole thing. It's, you know, I don't know, it's just great, you know, but I think what's nice with this is like observing, say, where the tree trunks start and stop and where the leaves come, you know, to obscure them, I think is a nice way of looking at this. It's very, you know, it's loose. I don't really know what all these structures are. I can't really tell. You know, my brain wants to know what is this stuff. But, you know, just let yourself kind of look at it and draw what you see and not worry about, you know, exactly what it is. This would be a good one for doing upside down. So I would give that a try. These kinds of drawings that he's done are a very, what do I want to call it, daunting. These are scary. These are so amazing. These drawings scare me. They're so great. Maybe I'll just try it with the pen. I'm inclined to do the whole thing. This is extremely intense. Well, there's no way I'm going to do the whole thing in the last 8 minutes of the class. So what I think I'll do is just focus on the tree, since this this class is dedicated to the tree. This is a different sort of tree. And he's, you'll see that the marks are quite different from how he treated this tree. So let me get this where we can see it. I want to get this lit well. I'm just going to try to like just look at the tree. And I'm just going to go into it with the pen right away, which means I won't be able to correct as easily, but that's okay. He has done a little bit of these kind of squiggles here. These drawings that are so good and so complex that they're intimidating, do not be afraid. Make this much too tall. And I find myself just needing to grow out of, like, you know, start with the base and just grow out. No idea how he did this, but maybe if I do it a few times, I'll be able to tell. Oh my God, this is so neat. This is another thing. For as crude as Vincent was, he was so into detail. I mean, he understood, like, the devil is in the details. Sorry, I'm trying to put this where you can see it, and I'm not doing a good job. I have to put it like this. I am not going to do what Vincent can do, right? But I mean, but like you can see, once you start really looking at this, there's this amazing, like there's this little branch that stops and it's got a little hole in it. And he doesn't do that for everything, but he does it for enough so that you can, so that you really have a sense of like the sort of textures and events in this tree that make this tree the unique individual tree that it is. And I'm going to try to move through this whole thing. He has certain, you can kind of see through this tree too, so it's a little confusing. But I want to move through the whole thing. And I'm not getting this completely accurate. I'm just trying to understand the various things he did. That these are, where is it heavy and where is it delicate? That kind of thing. I think he must have used some kind of wash, but I can't, maybe not. Maybe he just used, I don't think he got his tone from wash. I think he got it from just coming back with pencil. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't answer definitively as to, what he actually did. But certain things are solid. I don't know. This one is just really amazing. I'm going to step back and see what I have to do in the last 2 minutes to make this tree look like a complete tree. So I'm just kind of gonna go with what he's done, but I'm gonna make it my own tree pretty much. Yeah, these other lines have a very different kind of tone. And I don't know if it's because he used a different pen. There's certain, kind of straggles down here. But for some reason, I don't like that idea. But I'm certainly not going to get, he might have, I don't know, maybe you could use like a gray marker or something. No idea how he got these effects. Or it's, I'm going to try it just real fast in the last minute, just see what kind of effects I can get with the pencil. I'm just going to kind of do it quickly. Let's see here now. I can get a range of tones at least. Sometimes, obviously if you get something out of a book, it will say what he used. But he used all kinds of stuff, so you can't just assume that, he used the same kind of medium, for the same kinds of subjects. It's not as though he did this with graphite pencil, but I'm just seeing if I can get some of these effects of his with the graphite. This one, I said it was intimidating, and I can swear to you, it's still intimidating. But I think I'll, come back to this and keep trying to understand these incredibly, I have several drawings that are this detailed and this obsessive and this beautiful. And I do not know how he did it. And I still don't know, even trying it. I know even less about it now that I've tried to copy it. But that doesn't mean I'm not, I'm not going to stop always trying to understand Vincent. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to go. Let me know, email me or something and tell me if you like this, if you can see it better, if you like me doing it this way. It's going to be more inconvenient in terms of the recording because Tim has to sort of put the sound with, we've recorded it ourselves. The Hyde Park Art Center has not recorded this part of it. It can't pick it up. I spent a long time trying to make it do that, but it won't. So just let me know if it's, if the better camera is worth the inconvenience. You can unpin. I'm going to unpin so I can see you guys. But yeah, this is the Vincent especially is going to be a challenge. But try all three masters for three completely different ways of looking at trees. And good luck with it. And I'll see you next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.